one way to prepare for exams is to take questions. So that is the purpose of this work. Okay. So a linear function has the form y equals mx plus b in slope-intercept form. This b has so many names. It is called the y-intercept in math terms. Okay. When it is graphed, it is called the y-intercept. It is also called the starting value in literal terms, the starting value or starting point, which can also be the initial value. Initial value. Okay, this x here, when we talk about function, we might want to define what a function is. A function is a relation in which one input has one and only one output. Okay, one and only one is a mathematics way of saying that only one output. Okay, so when we write a function in a linear function in this form, this x here simply represents the x-axis, which carry the inputs. So a function has inputs and outputs. So the inputs are found on the x-axis. This m here, which we have seen before as a slope, is also the rate of change. Okay, so it is the rate of change, or we can just say the unit rate. And this y right here is the output. So after all of that happens inside the function, the output is what we get out of the function that stands out here by itself, y, the output. Okay, now that we have those branches, an airport shuttle service charges $15. Okay, so this is a charge of $15, an initial charge of $15, and then plus $1.15 per mile. Okay, based on this equation, we're looking for two things. Which one is the initial value, and which one do you think is the rate of is the rate per mile? Per mile means 1 mile. Okay, so which one is the rate? Okay, so we see that $1.15 is the rate. That is where it is going to go in this function, in this equation. And $15, which is the initial value that is charged for showing up. Okay, yeah, for just having the shuttle, you pay $15 to sit in there, and then every mile you go, you pay an extra $1.15. So the initial value is 15. So if we were to write a function in this form, y equals mx plus b, to model this scenario, that function will be y equals $1.15 per mile. Okay, so x here will represent the miles. So x is the miles, and the total amount, the cost, will be the y, which will be the output. Okay, so that is what you pay for the number of miles you put in. So the equation will be y equals 1.15x plus $15. So what is the value for m? So m is 1.15, like we have already seen. All right, second question. We have an equation given, and we're looking at this main form right here. This says select all that apply. The line has a slope of -13. Okay, all we need to do is write our y equals mx plus b below it. Okay, the slope, we clearly see m is the slope. M is not -13. So not true. Okay, so not true. The line has a slope of +4. Not true again. The slope is right here. It is -4. It's not +4. So you want to pay attention. That negative is sitting right there. Don't forget it. So B, not true. The line passes through the point -325. How would you know if you don't have a graph? Okay, how would you know? This is how to know. The equation says y is equal to -4x plus 13. Okay, now remember that when we plot points as x and y coordinates. So if the line passes through the point -325, that means what they are asking you to find out is if you have an input of -3, will the output be 25? That is what you want to investigate. So you can use the function rule to investigate. All you need to do is substitute -3 in the place of x. Let's find out. So if I have -3 in the place of x, y will now equal -4. Instead of writing x, I now put -3 in the place of x. And I remember to add a 13. So let's see what that becomes. Y will equals -4 times -3 is +12. And 12 plus 13 is 25. So it is true when x is -3, y is 25. So this is a true statement right here. We can give it a check. That, yeah, we found a true statement. The line passes through the point 0, -4. Okay, that's another statement to investigate. The equation say the function rule says -4x plus 13. So if x equals 0, okay, which is the y-intercept. That's how to know where the y-intercept is. Where x equals 0, then y equals 13. Because all of this will be 0. -4 times 0 will be 0. So y equals 13. This is not true. The line passes through the point 0, 13. Yes, it does. So you see here, x equals 0, y equals 13. Yes, it does pass through the point 0, 13.